Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof, ahead of what is a fantastic day of racing with Qipco Champions Day of 2015 taking place. 4 Group 1s, 1 Group 2 and the Balmoral Handicap won by Bronze Angel at the end of the card. Just to round things off, we also have the understory of Sylvester de Souza being crowned champion jockey at the end of the card at Ascot, and also, and that's been wrapped up for months. However, the apprentice title is going to go down to the last day with Tom Marquand currently on 53 winners, Jack Garrity on 52, depending on how Billy Bond gets on in the final race this evening at Wolverhampton. We could bring that to you live here on the Other Hoof, actually, which would be a fairly cool thing to do. He's got 2 rides tomorrow at Ascot, Jack Garrity, in Eastern Impact, and also in the Balmoral. He's got Rene Mathis, both outside chances, but he would prefer one of those to win, because Tom Marquand having his first visit to Catterick, where we're expecting at the moment him to be crowned a champion apprentice. He's got 5 rides up there on only his first ever visit to the track. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out, but our focus is on Qipco Champions Day at Ascot. As mentioned, 4 Group 1s, 1 Group 2 to start us off, and the Balmoral Handicap to end proceedings. And talking through that with me this evening, my name's Luke Elder. I'm here with Adam Webb and Timeform's Callum Adele. Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
Evening.
Well, how are we? We all excited?
Very.
Relatively, yeah.
You guys seem it.
We're always excited, aren't we?
Yeah. How did the Nats go last week? Not good. It's never good when I have to ask that.
Mine needed the run. I thought he wouldn't need the run, and he needed the run. Oh wow. The joys of the liquidator. The joys of jump racing when you nap at this time of the year, trying to debate whether your horse is ready or not, and I got that one wrong. But David did say in his blog, he said there's other days for him. So I'm hopeful as the season goes on.
Yeah, I napped that David Evans thing at York. That ran alright, actually.
Oh yeah, that one, yeah. And how did yours go, Luke?
I napped that Unduffled thing at York that was behind the Dave Evans runner at York. That incidentally was behind 2 other horses. Although, one of them is now a Group 2 winner.
Yeah,
so,
quite impressive as well.
Yeah, that form, rock solid. Rock solid.
I completely missed that.
It won today over Maze on the feet fairly
impressively.
Yeah,
I knew it was running, I just completely forgot about the result. Didn't know it actually won. Fair play.
Won quite nicely. Right, we've got 6 races to cover at Ascot, and as always, as many of you already have as well, we've got plenty of questions in, but you can send yours in if you're new to the show as well. Just tweet us at On The Other Hoof. We'll read out every question fancy at the end of the show. Just please keep it within reason, of course, and we'll try and get back to you. We will get back to you, as we always do, here on The Other Hoof. But the first race that we're going to be covering is the 12:45 from Ascot. That's the Qipco British Champions, a long-distance cup over 2 miles, a Group 2, where 13 go to post here. And it's a horse that I've been talking about for a while. Adam's been talking about it for slightly shorter. Callum took a while to get onto the bandwagon, but he's now arrived.
Not positive.
Hang on a minute. You've been talking about him longer than me. I'm sure that we both picked him out as an eye catcher together. I've been raving about him for equally as long.
No, not having that. I'll let you talk about him first if you want, Adam.
Good, because he's a horse that I put up in the flat preview. Luke did as well, and I'd say he's one of the biggest success stories from it. Some of them have been woeful, but this is one. Him and the Corsican are 2 that I'm really pleased that they've gone the right way. And in a way, I think Agent Murphy has exceeded expectations, because I thought it'd be a top-class handicap and might win a listed or a Group 3 event. And he's here in the Group 2. I mean, he was second, obviously, last time out in the Group 1 behind Order of St George. He would never have beaten the winner. But in saying that, take the winner out, I still don't think he was given the best ride on the occasion. I think he was too far back. And something I will say about the horse, he's not slow, but he just takes time to get going. He takes about 8, 9, 10 strides just to get into top gear. When he does get into top gear, he does quicken, but he takes his time. And Jimmy Fortune, I thought, had him positioned badly in the circumstances of the race. And I think tomorrow, I think he is the one to beat. And at 6-1, and he's as big as 6-1, I can't believe that as a price. I think he's got a really good chance tomorrow, especially with some of those around him in the market. Forgotten Rules, I'm not sure what to make of him now. I mean, he went into Royal Ascot and everybody thought it was the banker, but the ground was too quick. He didn't stay. The slight hope is that softer ground here will help him, but even then, I thought Agent Murphy had him covered at the Curragh. Clever Cookie, I don't think stays. It's an unpopular opinion, but I don't think 2 miles is his trip. I think he wants 1.5 miles on really soft ground, not at Group 1 level in the King George. The other one I do like in the race is Litigant, who's been price-wise. And I've said it several times on this show, Joe Chewett, it'll be the training performance of the year for the E-Ball, but if he can win this as well, that achievement goes even higher. They did the right thing in pulling him out of the Cadran, because he said on ATR earlier, he said he walked the track 50 yards and he knew it wasn't right. It was too quick for him. He's a fragile horse, so fully understand that. I think he's the main danger to Agent Murphy. One other I will mention, Condor Warrior, I think he's had enough racing now. He has been on the go for a long time, and I know he was given a bad ride at Longchamp, but to me, he looks a horse in need of a break, and I hope he gets it sooner rather than later. Agent Murphy is a strong win selection, and I think Litigant can chase him home.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with both of those things, to be honest. I think Agent Murphy is the strongest candidate for a win bet anyway, but you can put holes in every other horse in the race. I don't think Clever Cookie's the strongest of stayers at 2 miles. I don't think he's a 1.5 mile horse at Group 1, as Adam mentioned. Condor Warrior, as Adam alluded to, we're talking about it on the ARC preview before the Cadran, but Condor Warrior has been on the go for so long now. He just might need a bit of a break. Flying Officer, again, hasn't got any form at this level. Not to say he won't win, but it was a good winner of a listed race at Newmarket last time out. We'll need to find a little bit more.
Form, that.
The what?
Group 1 form, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beating Angel Gabriel 2 lengths.
Moving on. Forgotten Rules. Me and Callum were talking earlier on in the week that he just seems like he's not a happy horse at the moment. He's not really trained on from what we thought he was going to be earlier on in his career. Litigant has to come back from that injury. However, he'd be one of the more attractive horses in the field. And then the others you can really make a few excuses for. Palisades is a bit of a nut job, but seems to have grown a bit of a fan club now. And the other one that people are talking about would be Wicklow Brave, who I'm really not convinced on the flat anyway. He's a stayer at 2 miles. All his better form is over in mile 6. He ran a cracker in the E-Ball to come second. He wasn't really shouting out he needs 2 furlongs extra to me on that day, and also on slightly softer ground than he encountered up at York. So for me, I was surprised earlier when I saw how far clear he was in official ratings. £3 ahead of Forgotten Rules now, Agent Murphy. But I just think he's the best horse in the race. Stepping up to 2 miles is going to really suit him. And I think it could be a nice Group 2 winner for Brian Meehan. He's enjoying a fantastic year of it so far. Long may it continue as well. Callum, a clean sweep for Agent Murphy?
Yeah, definitely.
For a horse that wouldn't stay 1.5 miles, he's now in a 2 mile race, and Callum is completely convinced.
He needs 2.5. He just ticks every box for me. But look, at this stage, I already think he's the best horse in this race already. Yet there's more to come, considering he's probably as unexposed, if not the most unexposed in the field. Well, actually, probably a bit harsh to say he's the least unexposed, but like. He has got some more to give, especially over this trip, which you'd expect to suit. So I think he wins this really comfortably, to be honest. I've already backed him, you've already backed him, Luke, because we've all already discussed many a time. And I advise all listeners or viewers to do the same. Forgotten Rules, I don't think he's really in that much heart at the moment. Also, I heard today the Ascot Gold Cup, not a single horse has won coming out of it, so Cameron's just gone there. Clever Cookie.
We should put out there as well, actually. Callum is having camera difficulties. Yeah. I think he's on his phone this evening in a hotel because he is going to Champions Day tomorrow. He may just have a few camera difficulties throughout the show, in a sense that you may see the ceiling more than you're going to see Callum. But back to you, Callum.
I'm going to hold it there. Clever Cookie, I'm not convinced he's a proper 2 miler. Flying Officer is the one, the slightly improving horse, or would come back in decent form, but I just don't think he's quite the standard of Agent Murphy. But he's a danger. Palisade is a nutcase. Litigant, what do we expect from Litigant? I'm not really quite sure how he's going to run. But yeah, I think Murphy's a smashing bet at 6-1.
I backed him at 5s, didn't expect him to drift. He's now 6s and contemplating going back in again. But I thought it was nice with Joe Chewett on at ATR earlier on, the feature they did about Litigant. He said, I've never had a horse good enough to contest a Group 2 before, so it'd be nice to go there. Which I thought was quite a nice thing, considering he's taking on the likes of Willie Mullins, Sidebin Saror, Brian Meehan tomorrow, taking on horses from pretty big yards. And for once, Peter Niven won't be the newcomer to group races with Clever Cookie. It will be Joe Chewett tomorrow. So best of luck with Litigant to Joe Chewett, but we're all with Agent Murphy, giving a bit of a mention to Litigant, though, as we move on to the 120. That is the Qipco British Champion Sprint Stakes, a Group 1 over 6 furlongs. And this for all intensive purposes, really does revolve all around Mohara, a horse that's carried all before him in the 6 furlong division this season, Adam.
He has. He's been the standout sprinter this year and fully deserves to be champion sprinter at the end of the year, win, lose or draw tomorrow, but he should win tomorrow. And the ground isn't an issue for him. I personally, his best performance came on rattling fast ground at Royal Ascot, and that's something I have had in the back of my mind since. But then you think about it, he didn't handle Newmarket particularly well in the July Cup, and he still won. And he beat Esoteric last time out, and Esoteric's taken her form to a new level this season. He is a clear one to beat, and I'll let Callum make the point about price, because that would be rude of me to take his point, but he should be shorter.
You just taken my point.
No, I'm saying it as is.
No, it's literally what I said as soon as I came on the
No,
video.
but you suggested the price he should be. That's what I was
Okay.
letting you say. I'm not going to say the price I think he should be. I'll let you say it, and I agree with it. I'm just saying he should be shorter. I'm not going to say the price. Twilight Sun, I'm not particularly pleased about this situation with Ryan Moore taking the ride now. I know it's the owner's vested interests that they would prefer him to take the ride, but Fergus Sweeney's done nothing wrong on the horse, and he won his first Group 1 on him last time out in the Sprint Cup, so I find that it's not really a baffling decision because you've got Ryan Moore, he's the world's best jockey, but I just think it's really unfair on Fergus Sweeney. But hey, that's racing now. Loyalty with jockeys is not really a good thing. I would like to see the Tin Man run well. Really impressive winner last time out in a handicap. It might make me feel slightly better that I backed Dawn's Early Light on that occasion. And if he can win this, or at least go close, it will make me feel confident about Dawn's Early Light again going further forward into the future. Of the rest, there are just some horses in this race I really don't like. Dan Zeno's one of them. I've never warmed to him, and he looked, even though he won last time out, I wasn't impressed. And he's just not a horse that I particularly like. Gordon Lord Byron could go well at a price. He ran better in the foray than he did in the Sprint Cup. The ground will help him more than it will at Longchamp, so I think he could go well at an each-way price. And then you go further down, some of these shouldn't be running here. They are listed Group 3 sprinters, and they're not up to this. Muhara, I think, wins this really comfortably, and I wouldn't put you off a little each-way bet on Gordon Lord Byron.
Well, he's got a good record here, this Gordon Lord Byron, hasn't he?
He won
He
this
enjoys
race a year
Champions
ago.
Day.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
The ground's fine for him as well.
I think we're all going to agree once more on Mahara. I do think 9-4, as I'm sure Callum's going to mention it, is a huge price about him. A horse that's by far the best Group 1 6 furlong sprinter we've got. And if you're going to have a bet, you could take Mahara at that price. If you want something each way, then I'm struggling personally to find something each way. I don't think the horses in behind him are really up to this sort of, or his standard anyway. We won't say not Group 1 horses, because we've got Group 1 winners amongst them. I think the one that I like out of all of them would be Strathburn, who is a horse that's been called every name under the sun this season and in different scenarios, but was a good second to Twilight Sun in the Sprint Cup last time out at Haydock. He's just a big bull of a horse. If you're listening to Charlie Hill's talk about him beforehand, he was really confident on him, and I just think it's a horse that's going to improve in time. He could be a sprinter to follow next year, because Mahara, he's not sticking around next year, is he, Mahara?
No, he's not.
No.
He's off the stud. Don't blame him.
Black Racing. Strathburn is a horse that next year I can see improving and being one of the leading sprinters over 6 furlongs anyway. I'm going to see finding just that little bit extra. He is still fairly lightly raced as well. He only lost his maiden tag, 3 outings ago? So, officially anyway. Officially lost his maiden tag, we'll say. But, 8-1, it's not a huge amount of each way value. The Tin Man's got to be an interesting one, but to be honest, I'm finding it really hard to get Muhara beaten here. I don't think he will be beaten at 9-4. I'm sure Callum's going to agree here that Muhara is fantastic value.
I am. Yeah, Adam pretty much just said my point. I just can't get the fact how impressive he was when he won the Commonwealth Cup. He's over the same course and distance, and Ascot is just his perfect sort of track, really. I have no issues with the ground whatsoever. I think I read Paul Hannigan interview in the Racing Post in the week, and he said that he'd rather have it on the softer side than faster side for it, which I thought was really interesting. One in spite of the track at Newmarket, and then absolutely no disgrace in Esoteric is a top filly this year or mare, so that was some effort in the Marista Geese, and yeah, I think Mahara should be 11 to 10 shot personally. He's the best horse in the race. I'm not convinced by the Haydock Sprint Cup form as of yet, to be honest. Yes, there's, you got unexposed 3-year-olds fighting out the finish. Twilight Sun's done absolutely nothing wrong. Strathburn, he's just not a horse I've warmed to yet, and he needs to prove to me that he's more than that flash in the pan run last time. Yeah, he could just be coming good, but the Group 3 one the time before was a really weak contest, and before then he'd been scraping it in maidens for ages. He should have won. He should have had that win first time out, but yeah, I want to see him do it again, to be honest. And I think this is the last hurrah for Muhara. I didn't actually mean that pun, but it worked. And yeah, I think it's definitely.
Sorry, just how proud you were when you said that. There's a smile up on your face.
I didn't even mean it. Tin Man, I'm still absolutely perplexed how I got him beat at York off 91.
York's a funny place at times.
Yeah, he was just drawn badly, to be honest. But yeah, that's way too short, isn't it? The Tin Man. He had the potential to be special, but that's just very, very short. I don't really know each way. I'm interested to see how the Singapore horse gets on Emperor Max, because he's got some solid form in Singapore, and he's consistent, but he probably comes up short. Yeah, my only bet in the race will probably be Mahara. I think he should be a lot shorter, 9 to 4. I think it's worth taking.
Yeah, Muhara then, for all three of us for the sprint on Champions Day. We should be disagreeing a little bit more throughout the course of the afternoon. We will wait for the Balmoral probably for that. But an interesting afternoon of action. And breaking news here, Jack Garrity apparently just denied over at Wolverhampton in the 9:20 aboard Billy Bonds. So Jack Garrity, as it stands, is one behind Tom Marquand for the draw. He needs to ride both winners tomorrow, effectively, on Eastern Impact and also on Rene Mathis in the Balmoral tomorrow, if he is
Good luck.
Yeah. There will be people doing that each way double, though.
Yeah, definitely.
We should say as well, he's also going to have to hope that Tom Marquand draws a blank on his 5 rides up at Catterick.
Yeah, he will. They will share it though, won't they?
Yeah. Well, we've had the likes of Seb Sanders and Jamie Spencer.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Inchner down. Absolute certainty for Spencer. I remember that. Good times.
Yeah. Well, this is more the apprentice race, but best of luck to both tomorrow. Jack Garrity coming from one behind of Tom Marquand. It's 53-52 in the favour of Tom Marquand as we speak. But tomorrow fills us with a little bit of potential anyway for a bit of an understory. But the 155 at Ascot is where we're going next. Well, 12 go to boast for the Qipco British Champions Fillies and Mares Stakes, a Group 1 over a mile and a half. And I'm going to start with Callum this time, because this is a race that we've spoke about at length throughout the week, that we're sort of more leaning towards the French side than the English side here.
Yeah, definitely. C. Khaleesi's been my long-term fancy for this race, I think probably since the Yorkshire Oaks, to be honest. Really liked her effort there, where she was very, very close to Covert Love that day, despite Covert Love having the run of things, and C. Khaleesi certainly not. Thought she ran a really nice race in the Vermeer as well, which looks really solid form. I mean, Trev absolutely annihilated them, but Candelaya and C. Khaleesi pulled clear of the rest, including Arabian Queen was in that. She had no chance that day, to be honest. She just pulled way too hard. But both of them are unexposed 3-year-olds that have been progressive, they're late maturing sorts, and I really like them. But I do prefer C. Khaleesi solely on the basis that this isn't an afterthought for her, whereas you get the feeling with Candelaya, or particularly Covert Love, who obviously is only 13 days since winning an opera. I think it's Covert Love potentially that 12 furlongs maybe isn't quite her trip. And that's weird to say for a horse that's won an Oaks, but
yeah,
I didn't think she really relished the last stages of the Yorkshire Oaks. I thought she just got outstayed by Placecock, and last time she showed she certainly got the speed for 10 furlongs at this sort of level. So I would be taking her on tomorrow, to be honest. And with the guarantee, is she going to get a soft lead? Because I assure Journey will want to be up there as well. And Candelaya, she won a pretty poor race on our weekend, but she's just a really improving filly. But like I said, I do prefer C. Khaleesi out of the trio. And there's a few more to consider. This is much the best renewal of this race we've had, I think, ever, to be honest, because it's usually the really poor race of the the day. Madame Chiang obviously won it last year, and she's 20-1. Deserves to be no better this year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this race. But I'm going to stick with my guns with C. Khaleesi because it's been my long-term fancy for the race.
Yeah, I'm not sure I overly agree with Covert Love's best trip not being a mile and a half. I think in the Irish Oaks she had the run of things which did help her, but I think in the Yorkshire Oaks I'd preferred her ridden a lot closer to the pace, to be honest. She was sat in about 4th place throughout. She's not a horse that's got a huge turn of foot. I thought over in the Opera last time over Longshot.
I'm sure she led for most of it.
Is she?
Yeah. I'm convinced she led for most of that race.
Well, am I mixing her up with Kirby?
All of it.
You're probably mixing her up with Kirby because Kirby doesn't have much of a turn of foot as well.
Yeah, I could be mixing up with Kirby. But nonetheless, I still would say that a mile and a half probably bring out the best in her.
No, I'm quite strong for this now, to be honest. So I was really impressed with her the other day. I just thought,
yeah, well,
really showed the speed that she needed to win that.
I think the one thing against Covert Love could be the track, in a sense that we've got a short run in. It's what 2.5 furlongs at Ascot. I just think that she could be sort of precarious to something that's got more of a turn of foot than her, which would be most in the field. Covert Love just seems to be an out-and-out galloper who just seems to keep finding when something comes to her. I completely agree with Callum. Probably affected each other's opinions throughout the week, talking about Candelier and also C. Khaleesi. This does seem to be an afterthought for Covert Love. She's had a long old season now, and at one time it's got to catch up with her. Candelier and C. Khaleesi are pretty closely matched in their May form. I just think C. Khaleesi would be the one that I'd side with. It wouldn't be a huge bet either way, to be honest. I would fancy these two being the first two home for Alan de Roy Dupré. Know how you say that one, Adam, actually?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
No? We're not. Okay, we're not going to go back for the Tipstar thing. And Francois Doom and C. Khaleesi.
That's not, it's not, it wasn't Alan de Roy Dupré, it was Jean-Claude Rouget.
Oh, sorry.
Easy name to say.
I was confused then. No, I kept saying it because I'm saying it so fast, I kept saying Clondor.
Condor Rouget.
That'll be a horse owned by Rich Ritchie running in a couple of years probably.
Yeah. Anyway, C. Khaleesi would be the one that I'd side with. I don't really need to add much else onto what Callum said. That Vermeer run was good enough for me, and she's been aimed at this race since that day, whereas Candelier hasn't. She's been an odds-on winner over at Longchamp since, and also Covert Love doesn't really need an introduction after the season she's had, but she was seen just 13 days ago in the Opera. C. Khaleesi seems to have been saved for this race by Francois Dumas. The ground should be fine, the trip should be absolutely fine, and I would have her coming out in front of Candelier. Where's Covert Love going to come? I'm not sure, but she keeps surprising me this year. Adam, are you going for an English victory or a French victory?
There's one that I've had in mind for this race for a while, and it's an English trained horse, and she's quite a big price. And I'll mention her first, is Beautiful Romance, who was such an impressive winner at Windsor when she stepped up in trip on softer ground. And she didn't run as well in the Vermeer last time out, but I have a feeling this could have been the plan for her as well. She's similar to not similar to C. Khaleesi in that sense, but I think they've had this in mind for her since she won at Windsor, and I do think she's a big price tomorrow. I think she could definitely outrun her odds, and she's a horse that when she's right, she's very good, but when she's not right, it's one of them in and out horses. That's the problem. I do think she'll run a big race tomorrow. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if she won, but she'd have to improve on what she's shown so far. Opposed at the top of the market, Covert Love. Oh, wow, in the Opera, I got her wrong completely. I thought Jazzy Top had every chance to go past her. I thought she was going to go past her, but she was so tough, so genuine, and I don't see the track being a big negative for her tomorrow, because Pat Smullen can get her rolling, get her into the home turn, kick the home then, and if he can poach an advantage, she could be very hard to pass. I kind of get the point about 12 furlongs not being her trip, because at the end of the Yorkshire Oaks, I said before the Opera I wasn't sure about going back to 10 furlongs, but on reviewing that, I think 10 furlongs is probably her right trip. But to be fair, she could easily win tomorrow. But the concern is...
Sorry, about York, it is a long straight and they are racing a long way from home. Ascot's the complete opposite from that. I think if there are worries about her getting a mile, or not getting a mile and a half, that's the wrong way to put it, but excelling at a mile and a half, then Ascot probably would be one of the places that you'd really want to run her.
Yeah, exactly. I think, no, if you're going to kick for home, you kick on the bend. You don't kick into the straight when you come into the straight, because it takes longer for it to get going. So I think Pat Smullen will want to wind it up from the front. He will have Journey taking him on for the lead, and she has shown really improved form. She won at Newmarket and was really impressive last time out. I have to mention Simple Verse, our St Ledger winner. She won it, she lost it, and she got it back. The drop back in trip and Ascot is a track though, 1.5 miles. I do have a slight concern about her. I thought the improvement came when she went up in trip and coming back down slightly in trip. I can understand why people may think she's a big price, but I'm just not sure about her back at 1.5 miles tomorrow. Of the French horses, Candelier has been impressive, but as Callum said, I agree with him. I think it's an afterthought. D. Khaleesi I'd rate as a big danger, but I may as well. I'm going to go with Beautiful Romance at a big price. I think she could run really well tomorrow.
Okay, C. Khaleesi for myself and Callum. A Beautiful Romance for Adam. Fairly ironically as well, going for the 2:30 at Ascot. The fourth race of the day is the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, sponsored by Qipco, of course, as the whole day is the Group 1 over 1 mile. Just the 9 turning up here. Could well be 8 by post time, guys. It's Glen Eagles, the enigma that is Glen Eagles this season. Has been a non-runner more times than he's run. He's currently 15 to 8, 2 to 1 around that mark. Was bigger earlier on in the week. It is currently good to soft in places on the round course, but that won't really matter here. It's good to soft at the moment. Aidan O'Brien did come out today though and say if they have 1 millimetre, that's too much. He will come out.
It's ridiculous.
It's getting annoying, I know, and I know that they're trying to run their horse on his preferred ground and that they can't control how soft the ground is. That's natural. None of us can. But yeah, in that respect, you can crab Solo's form all you want in saying that he hasn't really beaten a great deal. The likes of Esso Tariki beat here in the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot, which maybe not the best form if you put Cougar Mountain in there as well. He beat Arrod in the Sussex Stakes. That form, again, probably not out-and-out Group 1 form. However, no matter what, Solo has turned up and he has run his race every single time, which is a lot more, Adam, than you can say for Glen Eagles.
When Eagles is the best way to describe him. You don't know when he's going to turn up. The thing is, I would not be surprised if we have seen the last of him, because the thing with him, he won't. I don't think he'll run tomorrow. They'll take him to Stubble. He won't act on the dirt, and they will not take him to the Breeders' Cup, and then they'll retire him. And they've got what they want already. He's a champion 3-year-old miler. He won both Guineas. He won the St James's Palace. He's also a champion 2-year-old as well in his respects. And they've got what they want with him. They could easily pack him off to stud now if they wanted. And they can advertise him perfectly. Although, the way I've seen you can advertise him, yeah, he only goes on fast ground. Yeah, that's not something I'd want in a stallion personally. Solo obviously won't be a stallion because he's a gelding. And he's done nothing wrong this year. He's turned up everywhere. He hasn't shirked any... If there's been a horse he's coming up against, he hasn't shirked the issue. And the thing I have said for most of the season, I've wanted to see him at 10 furlongs. And I do think when Glen Eagles comes out, and even with Glen Eagles in the field, I do think he is pretty short tomorrow. In a race where you've got some potential in behind with the 3-year-olds that we didn't see Cody Berry in the Guineas. We saw Territories in the Guineas, and he improved to win the pre-John Pratt. And I actually do like Territories tomorrow. The ground won't be an issue for me tomorrow. What's wrong? I like Territories. I like him a lot.
I know. In fairness, you've had him from the start of the season, but okay.
I had him for the end of last year. In fairness,
yeah.
The ground was too soft for him last time out, and I know it's good to soft, but I don't think the ground. This is fine for him. It's not like an extreme, really testing ground like it was last time out. I just think at the prices, I think he's big. And when Glen Eagles comes out, it'd be interesting to see how he's priced up then. But I still think he'd be a couple of points too big. Elm Park. I thought he'd be better at 1.25 miles, personally. I know he won the Racing Post Trophy last year, but I don't have him down as a Group 1 miler. And even Integral's a big price. I think she could run a huge race tomorrow. It's her last race before she goes to the breeding shed. And she could outrun the roads. The rest of them at the bottom, Ballardo, Top Notch Tonto and Gabriel. Gabriel's picked up some really good prize money this year. Fair play to Connections for putting him in basically every race they can and getting as much prize money as possible. But I don't see any of them three putting up a threat. Cody Berry is really interesting tomorrow. And I can see him running a really big race. Gerald Moss say it. Last week's predictions were interesting from Callum. I just hope if he does win, I hope that half of the situations don't happen. But I do think Solo's too short. This is coming from someone who is a big fan of the horse. I think he'd be better at 10 furlongs. And against really good milers in Cody Berry and Territories, I think he's got a big race in his hands. And for a selection, I will go with Territories.
Yeah, well, just a question about Territories. Do you think he's at his best at a mile?
Yes, I do. That pre-John Pratt win over a mile I thought was really impressive.
Okay.
And I do think a mile's his trip, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just something I wanted to put to you. It's an intriguing race, whatever side you look from it. I know we've got Cody Bear's biggest fan on the panel tonight, in Callum Medell. How do you reckon they're going to ride Cody Bear tomorrow, Callum?
Really prominently, like they always do, surely.
Well, do you think they'll go to the front? They didn't at Goodwood, but they had a out-and-out pacemaker in there in Fireship that was always going to go to the front. Do you think they'll say "Catch me if you can"?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I think he obviously won't be going few lengths ahead, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was leading overall at the head of the pack. But I don't think he's that one-dimensional either. So he just bowls along in front. That's what he does. Yeah, and I think that might suit him, to be honest. You know, you'd expect Solo to be held up if Gleneagles won't run. The territories will be held up, so you know I think he could get first run on them, and it'll take a good horse to pass him. I really think that, and take all my bias out of this. I would love it if he won. I've obviously already backed him. I would advise people to back him anyway, 8-1 tomorrow each way, because I cannot see him out the first three at the very least. And he could just potentially get first run on them. He really could.
Yeah, I agree with. I actually agree with that on Cody Bear. I probably wouldn't be having a bet in the race, but if I was, it'd probably fall on Cody Bear to win or Integral each way. Anything else? Biggest danger to Cody Bear, Callum?
Well, I think Solo's the one to beat because, yeah, his maiden run for me. I've said this all season. His maiden effort is by far his best, but maiden form you keep in maiden, and even I'll admit that. And since then, I don't really think he hasn't really impressed me. But he's a horse maybe just does enough. He doesn't really find more when he hits the front. Even taking out a maiden where he absolutely powered clear, but. Sirius was disappointing in the Gannet when in the Ispahan, sorry, not the Gannet. And then the Queen Anne was a pretty decent performance. I was a bit disappointed at the time, to be honest, and I was certainly disappointed at the time by Goodwood, where he beat A-Rod. They're no world beaters. Esoteric is the best horse he's beaten this season. So, if you're crabbing Cody Bear's form, which is easy to do, I don't think it's that hard to crab Solo's form, to be perfectly honest. And Territories, I just think, is a notch below as well. So I think it's a wide open race. I think Solo may just be a horse that does enough, and he might just do Cody Bear. But I think they'll be the two for the forecast for me. I think they're the best horses in the race for me.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they rode Solo a lot closer to pace tomorrow. I agree with Adam. To be honest, I think he would excel over 10 furlongs if they really gave him a good crack at it. They probably will next year, you'd imagine, at some point. But there's just something about Solo in that he's not beaten, as Callum mentioned, he's not beaten an out-and-out Group 1 performer. Probably Harsh and Esoterico has improved this season. Cougar Mountain, though, really crabs down that form. We got the likes of beating Arod at Goodwood in the Sussex Stakes. There's nothing he's beaten has either performed to his best or is a genuine Group 1 class. You mentioned, Callum, beating Sirius' Aigles. Sirius' Aigles lost half his hoof in that race and had to have a bit of time off after the event. So there are excuses for the horses in behind. I want to see Solo really go out there and do it. And if Gleneagles does run, then completely full credit to Solo. He has turned up every time this season, as mentioned at the start of the preview of the race. But I still just got slight reservations about Solo. As I said earlier, I'm probably not going to have a bet in the race. If I were, it would be on Cody Bear and maybe an each way chance on Integral, who over the past 3 years has been one of my favourite horses. She's absolutely fantastic. She came back to a bit of form last time out at Newmarket, just behind Esoteric. She had the run of the race on that occasion, but 16-1 with first three. It wouldn't surprise me if she were to sneak third place. She is a very classy individual on her day, but may just come up a little bit short tomorrow with place regards. I think Cody Bear could be the most likely winner. Callum does as well, and Territories for Adam. So we're all going a bit left field there, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
we do oppose favourites on the other.
Yeah, when's the goat chaser going to come in? When's the goat?
Favourite backers.
Calling us favourite backers every week.
Jack Hobbs is a certainty.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Oh, God.
As Kai Wills will say, let's remortgage the house and chuck it on this shorty.
And then when he gets beat, oh, dearie me.
Okay, let's move on. 305 at Ascot is the Qipco Champion Stakes, over 1 mile and 2 furlongs, the final Group 1 on the card. And as we mentioned, Jack Hobbs, your short price favourite at 5-4. But Adam, he's got every right to be that short, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Well, about a month ago, when he was a bigger price, I said to you, this is an early Christmas present when he was big price. You ignored me, Luke. Callum was like, yeah, but if he's going to go there, he's a big price. And he's now 5-4 favourite. He deserves to be clear favourite. The draw doesn't concern me. That's John Gosden again for you. He said it about Golden Horn. He said it about Jack Hobbs. I've got no concern about him being drawn 12. I just hope the pacemaker goes out, does his job, William Buick, rides a simple race, and he wins comfortably. And the exciting thing is, we've got nowhere near the bottom of him, and he'll be better next year. And plus, if he wins this, he's got the Group 1 win at 10 furlongs, and the next year they can target any race they want over at 10, 12. He's so exciting for next year. I cannot wait to see this horse. Can't wait to see him tomorrow. The ground, people are concerned about the ground. I'm not. He's looked to want softer ground. He goes on fast ground, but softer ground should bring about improvement as well. I think he's really solid tomorrow, one to beat. And I've noticed as well, the last 3 races I've gone with Godolphin horses, which isn't usually me, so I'm quite concerned by that. Found was given a really bad ride in the Arc. The Goat Chaser will be pleased to hear me slagging Ryan Moore off here, because normally we don't, but this is
was he given a bad ride?
Yeah, because he got trapped behind the wall. I know it's luck in the Arc, but still, it wasn't his finest hour. Don't defend Ryan Moore. The sun doesn't shine out of his backside, Luke.
It wasn't his fault that Eagle Top came and broadsided him as he got out.
Well, still though.
I think that's a bit more unlucky than anything. Like, she stayed on quite nicely. If she had got out when Ryan Moore really made the move to just angle out a little bit more and Eagle Top didn't come across and smack into her, then she probably wouldn't have placed, but she'd been a hell of a lot closer and maybe been amongst the prize money.
But still from the draw though, she was drawn wider than Golden Horn, and Ryan Moore decided to set his intentions to get to the rail. And that's not what you want to be in. You want
Would you rather have gone 4 wide round every bend then, like Thierry Jarnet on tread?
Well, I'd rather follow Golden Horn through, slotted in behind him. You'd have had more chance then. But hey,
yeah, but then you're on a suspect stare at 1.5 miles. Like, I don't think you can grab the ride, to be honest. I think it was more unlucky.
I don't think she was a suspect stayer though, because we were convinced she'd get 1.5 miles. And I think
yeah, but
you can't ride a horse
not confirmed stayer at 1.5 miles.
But you don't want to ride a horse. It's an Arc de Triomphe. You don't want to ride a horse in an Arc who's a suspect stayer, and you don't want to ride him to get the trip. You either get the trip or you don't get the trip. A bit like New Bay in the Arc. They rode him as if they. Well, I do think he stayed 1.5 miles, but I think he'd be better at 10. So you can't.
But even in the Irish Champion Stakes, though, she was ridden further behind.
She was ridden for a place, though. I think it was a strange ride in the Irish Champion Stakes. Tomorrow, though, back at 1.25 miles. I don't know about Found tomorrow. I'm umming and ahhing about her. I don't know. Jack Hobbs, as I've said, I think he wins it. Vadamos, I do not get that price at all. Fair enough if you got a double-figure price, but beating Merry Me, who runs in the Balmoral Handicap, that form means absolutely nothing to me. I know it's a visual impression, and he should improve for 10 furlongs, but none of his form to me suggests Group 1 winner in a Champion Stakes. I could look very stupid with that opinion tomorrow, but he just doesn't strike me. The Corsican has done really well this season. I'm pleased, and he won the Arc Trial last time out as well, but he's not really an Arc horse, so he's here. The ground is no concern for him. They were concerned before the King George was too soft. They pulled him out. He ran on softer ground last time out and handled it and won, so he probably would benefit from better ground, but the ground, there's no issue for him tomorrow. I could see him running a really big race. Apart from Jack Hobbs, the most fascinating runner for me is racing history. He's been unbeaten this season, and he's a horse that really caught my eye at Windsor. He was really impressive in a Group 3. The form is okay. I mean, Fascinating Rock disappointed. He came out and won at Leopardstown and reopposes here. But with potential going forward to next year, Jack Hobbs is obviously #1 on my list, but I think Racing History next season could be a really interesting horse to keep an eye on. I really like him, and I'd like to see him run well. The ground is no issue for him. Some of the others that I don't think are really good enough. Ribbons, fair play to them to come here instead of going for the fillies and mares. and I think she'll be outclassed here. Lightning Spear, what a bizarre season, what bizarre placing as well. He could have gone to Canada for a group/grade 1 over a mile, which I thought would have been perfect for him, and instead they miss it to come here where he's got no chance. And bad placing, basically. Like the horse,
I
but
have to say,
not good.
about Lightning Spear,
Oh,
I
God.
backed him in the Hunt Cup this year, didn't
Yeah.
run.
You backed
The John
him.
Smith Cup didn't run.
Didn't run.
QE2 didn't run, or hasn't run.
Maybe there's a sign there telling you not to back Lightning Spear anti-post.
Yeah, there
I've
is.
fallen for it. I backed him in the wood by a mile.
Oh, no.
Oh, I didn't back him in that. I didn't go for that.
Yeah, you
That's
told me about the price, and I backed it, and then you're like, no, I didn't back it.
Oh, that's
Cheers, mate.
mean.
Thanks.
But with Qatar tomorrow, with Qatar Racing, they've got Elm Park over a mile, and they've
Yeah.
got Lightning Spear over a mile and 2. Now, at the start of the season, I thought this is going to be the trip that Lightning Spear wanted, and I went back on that very quickly after I saw him win early season when he broke, well, not records, but posted very fast time figures at Lingfield on his reappearance. But I don't think the trip's going to be a negative for him. I just think he's a much better horse over a mile. It's soft in places on the round course, which is something he doesn't want at all. I don't get the thought process to come here over a mile and 2. if I'm honest.
And I actually don't think he'd be good enough against Jack Hobbs and the Corsican. Sunbal's also here. This is another bizarre entry as well. Yeah.
Why have we spent 2 minutes talking about a 50-1 rag?
Because Luke loves the horse so much, that's why, and I thought it was a bizarre piece of placing.
I can't believe he's
Because-
got this battle with
At
the
least you
pair.
get honest opinion on here. I think it's bizarre.
Because I wanted to prove to everyone that even we get it wrong sometimes. That
We always get it
we-
wrong.
no, we never get it wrong, Adam. We're always spot on the other
We're
hoof.
always right.
We never get it wrong at all.
To conclude the Champion Stakes, I think Jack Hobbs wins it comfortably. The Corsican and Racing History would be interesting ones for a place. Racing History is one I've firmly got in mind for next year. I hope Jack Hobbs proves to be the horse I think he is.
Yeah, I think we're getting a few tweets in at the moment about Jack Hobbs being part of a double, either with Muhara, either with Solo, either with something else short on the day. I think he would be the most solid bet on the card. I think at 5-4, there seems to be fairly bomb-proof about him. With Found, I think she fell into the arc after running so well in the Irish Champion Stakes. Didn't really get a clear passage then. I think this is a complete afterthought to come here. She hasn't been trained for it whatsoever, but if she does run up to what she's been running up to the last twice, then she shouldn't be too far away. I think Jack Hobbs is probably, definitely your right favourite, but at 5-4, I'd be a little bit wary of whether I'm going to back him at that price. I thought each way value, and I never thought I'd say this in a Group 1, but I think each way value could well be Ribbons, who last time out in a Fillies Group 2 over in Ireland travelled so strongly down the outside, and as soon as she hit the front, she just didn't do a tap. She just seems to be a completely rejuvenated horse this season. She's taken her form to a completely different level, and the one thing, she seems to be a lot more consistent than she was. If she can come into the race travelling as strongly as she did last time over at the Curragh, she shouldn't be too far away. I think for the first 3, each way at 16-1, Ribbons could be a fantastic each way bet. As I mentioned, I think Lightning Spear's over the wrong trip and gone for the wrong race completely. The Corsican at 10-1, I think, could be the other each way play in the race. It was impressive last time out at Newbury, beating Eagle Top on that occasion. But he's another one that's had a bit of an unlucky season. But 10-1, I think the Corsican could be each way value, and the same goes for Ribbons. But it's going to take a very, very good horse to beat Jack Hobbs when it caliber.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's a horse I could probably avoid at the prices. I think it says 11-8 on the Racing Post at the moment, but I don't know if that's on offer. I think that's pretty fair, to be honest, on Jack Hobbs. That he's a big brute of a horse, and he's looked very, very good this year, albeit the shadow of Golden Horn twice. But you know, he is very much a horse for next year, and I think this is the ideal finishing step for the season before hopefully going towards a bid to the Arc next year. But I mean, he's one of the most exciting horses in training at the moment, so I'd hope he wins. The draw is no issue. I think it's absolute nonsense. Look, I think it should be, you know, Maverick Wave as a pacemaker, it should entitle this to be fairly well run at least. And yeah, I expect Jack Hobbs to win. Found unlucky in the Arc, clearly wouldn't have won obviously, but was a cracking run behind Golden Horn in the Irish Champion, and Found is actually going for the Triple Crown. that's being well touted at the moment of the Irish champion.
Oh, Jesus
Champion Stakes. He's
Christ.
the actually only horse to actually make it to all three.
What an awful
I thought you were
idea.
gonna, I thought you were going to say she's going to go 3 mile chasing.
Betfair Chase, King George, Gold Cup, here she comes. She could
Yeah.
run, if she stayed in training, she could run in the King George next season.
On another note, doesn't Don Cossack look an absolute freak now?
Callum, get back to flat racing, please. What are you on about?
I agree with Callum, though, yeah.
This Vadamos is very, very interesting. Look, it's very much on hype that he is the price he is. He was a 12 furlong winner last year. He's shown he's got the speed for a mile when winning in Germany last time, but that race is absolutely filthy. He won it like he was entitled. 10 furlongs will be his trip. I think the ground will be positive, and the fact that he was actually supplemented for the Mulan. I think it was the Marwa. Sorry.
Yeah.
That is a big positive. I mean, you just don't even someone of Farber's expertise. You wouldn't do that. You know mug, are you? If you're going to do that, so I think that's significant. I've already backed him anti-post at double-figure price, which Adam was talking about earlier, and he's drifting again. I think 15-2 is a pretty fair price, to be honest. I can actually see him going very, very close tomorrow. Corsican, I'd prefer to see a bit faster ground. Racing History, I made a good point on Twitter earlier, trying to emulate his full brother in far, and obviously one for the Trend Boys. I was impressed with it last time. I think still needs a bit of growing up to do, to be honest. And the rest, I don't think are up to standard. Fascinating Rock leading them. Ribbons, I think he's going to be retired after this. So yeah, I think the market as it is pretty much spot on, to be perfectly honest. So I probably won't have an extra bet to what I've got on Vadamos already.
Yeah, Jack Hobbs then, your 11-8 market leader for the Champion Stakes. Looks to be a fairly worthy favourite as well. That's all the group action that we've got on the other hoof this evening for you. But we do have one more race, the Balmoral handicap, the 3:45. Probably should have started with that bit, really. Over a mile, 20 runners at Go to Post. They have cut the field size down from last year. Bronze Angel won it last year. He's back to defend his crown. Out of luck in the Cambridgeshire beaten. Fair way after Adam put the mockers on him. In that regard, but for a mark of 109, Adam, with Lewis Stewart taking a further £3 off, could Bronze Angel go back to back in the Balmoral?
Oh, God, I hope he doesn't. Jesus Christ. I thought it was a moral good thing in the Cambridgeshire, and yeah, it didn't go to plan. Marcus should have gone and blamed the loose horse. The loose horse, obviously, Brendan Bracken unseated at the start, and he said that the loose horse took his eye, and he's a horse that he has one run, and that's the only run he can sustain, and he got too far back, and at least he improved my record in the race. He came 20th, which is better than the previous two I've had put up on
We're all
this
proud of
show.
you, Adam. We're all very proud of you here.
Yeah, next year we're aiming for 15th in the Cambridgeshire, and if we can get there, I'll be very pleased. I hate that race so much. I hate the Cesarevich as well. Horrible races. Then again, the straight track at Ascot isn't exactly a place I do particularly well, so it might pay not to listen to me tomorrow. The one I do like... Yeah, tomorrow.
Just tomorrow?
Just tomorrow and in future, i.e. the Hunt Cup, the Wokingham, races that I never get on with. Ugh. The one that I do like, though, tomorrow is Sparkplug. I do think he is a big price. If you go back earlier in the season, his win when he beat Jem Hopkins at Newbury was really impressive, and he was unlucky in the Hunt Cup. He clipped heels with Bronze Angel and fell over. And ever since then, it looks like they've been teaching him how to get back into racing again. He was given a sympathetic ride twice at Sandown, even over a mile and a quarter, and I thought that the Cambridgeshire would be the place they'd go with him, and I really liked him for that. And then they pulled him out, and they've obviously come here. The ground isn't really much of a concern for me. It's not going to be too soft for him, and I think at 22s, I think that's a fairly big price on him. I'll mention Empire Storm. He ran a really good race a couple of weeks ago in the Total Challenge behind Buckstay, and he's probably a solid each-way bet as well. He was third in this a year ago. I found out as well why it's 20 runners. They've obviously shortened the track, because last year they had the whole full width of the track, and I was wondering why the field limit was 20.
Yeah,
it's the last, and also it's the last race that Gabriel's Kaka won. Not technically, he won the race on the near side, but that's the last race he won with his group, and it's the last race he'll probably ever win. So Sparkplug is the selection. I'm not going to go into this race much because it's a race I don't really like. I have had a bet with someone. Someone's put up GM Hopkins to beat Sparkplug, and there's a couple of drinks involved with that with someone called Jason Herridge who'll be watching tomorrow morning. So got your mention. And if it wins, I have to buy him a drink.
It's
Jason
a tricky
probably
race
wins
to
on
win,
that.
with the Balmoral. That was horrible memories of you putting up or of you mentioning Gabriel's Kaka after backing him last year, winning my side by about 2.5 lengths and finishing, I think, 9th in total.
Yep.
But I think each way plays again tomorrow. I think Mercedes is a horse that I've had in mind for this since the Cambridge. He ran such a good race on that occasion to come 7th. He's a very tricky horse, but since cheek pieces have been put on, he seems to be a more of a rejuvenated character. If he can continue that upward surge, and I think he's not badly handicapped to a mark of 96, and also a stroke of genius from Sidebin Saror to put Eddie Greatrex on board, taking an extra £5 off, which could talk volumes in this kind of race. So effectively, running off a mark of 91, getting one of the best £5 claimers around at the moment. Currently 10-1, but he's been price-wise, hasn't he, actually, Mercedes?
Yeah, he has, yeah.
The proper dog.
He he is. He's a talented dog. And off a mark of 96, I'd be with that dog over a few of them.
I'm just not convinced at all by his attitude, to be honest. Even with cheek pieces on, like, he didn't travel a yard at York when he was second, but he didn't travel at all. The visor at York after that, I think maybe. What about the ground tomorrow? I thought to be honest, I thought he wanted it faster.
It shouldn't be that bad at Ascot, should it?
No, but I think he needs it.
You want it rattling fast?
He's got a good record on your weather, and I think it's all your weather and good fast ground, summer ground suits him best. I'm really against him tomorrow for what it's worth.
Okay, it was softer side of good anyway, as it will be tomorrow at Ascot. At York 2 outings ago when he wasn't beaten by Chill the Kite, admittedly, but
he's disappointed that day, I thought.
But yeah, moving on. Mercedes, I think at 10-1 could be a decent each way bet. There's a couple more. I agree with Adam regarding Sparkplug. I think they've done the right thing since he was brought down in the Hunt Cup at Royal Ascot. As Adam mentioned, they just sort of taught him how to race again. They've got him involved in a few more battles, got him behind a few horses just to get his confidence back a little bit. And they've also done a canny thing of getting him dropped £3 in a handicap while doing so. 107 down to a mark of 104 that he'll run off tomorrow. I think he could be potentially well handicapped at about 20-1. I wouldn't put you off having a bid each way on him. And also Gabriel's Lad ran a much better race than we've seen him running recently. Last time out when just bumping into Buxday, he was a long way clear of the rest. Annoyingly, he has been put up £5 by the handicapper, which doesn't make life easy tomorrow. But I think 14-1, Gabriel's Lad could go fairly close in this first try over a mile as well. I don't think that'll really inconvenience him a great deal. And also, he has won one of these big Ascot straight course handicaps in the past. Also, he's a great number 5. So
can I just make a quick point? In a cruel case of irony, the Champions Stakes used to be run at Newmarket, and Chris Cook has just tweeted, in unrelated news about Glen Eagles, the going is good at Newmarket. So imagine if this day was being run at Newmarket, Glen Eagles would be running, and it would be a very interesting...
Well, if they got rid of it, then the QE2 wouldn't even be at Newmarket anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It would run at the end of September, so...
Even in the Champions Stakes, though. Guarantee that.
Oh, God. That's just depressing. Callum, any fancy in the Balmoral?
To be honest, I've looked through virtually all of these now while doing the video, and I'm really struggling to find anything that's that well handicapped, to be honest. I think I keep looking at everything and thinking, well, you know, it's had a tough season or it's had its chances, and you know, so many horses in these mid to high 100 marks now. And you just look at them and think, oh, I really don't think any of them are that well treated. You know, Buxday, case in point, he's gone up another 6 for winning Ascot last time. Well, he had lots in his favour. I thought in the end he actually did well to get on top against Gabriel's Lad, but you know, Gabriel's Lad's another one. He's off 109, and you think, how much have they got in hand? GM Hopkins obviously won the Hunt Cup. He's off 109. Master of the World, I thought was poorly handicapped, and then ran a cracker in the Cambridgeshire. You know, he's back off to 104, and you think, you know, Bronze Age, another one, Balti Boys, Chill the Kite. You know, they're all really high marks. Empire Storm was one you could probably put in that category as well, to be honest. He ran in this F106 last year and ran really well. And I just get the feeling tomorrow, when I was looking at the potential pace angle, and I'm struggling to find any horse that's actually going to want to make it. And he was the one that I found, really, is the one that could go on and make this. And if there isn't much contesting for the lead, then I thought he could run really well. I thought he ran a cracker on his last run behind Buxton and Gabriel's Lad. He's obviously better off with both. And I think he'll be fit and ready, and this has probably been the aim. He comes a lot fresher than most. And I like him around 18-1. And at the end of the day, though, I kept coming back to the Fav. Sacrificial. Cracking run in the Britannia. Done nothing wrong since. Again, he's probably fresher than most. He's not had the busiest of late season periods. Probably he was busy early in the season. So I'll put both those up, Sacrificial and Empire Storm each way.
Just against Sacrificial, 7-1 at the head of the market has been strongly backed this this week, really. In the Britannia, it was first time blinkers. That could be a reaction on that front. But also, he was off a £13 lower mark, so a much tougher test tomorrow. Would you hold that a bit against him?
No, because I think he's proven since. I think certainly how he won at Galway that he's actually not that badly handicapped still, to be honest. He's a 3-year-old at the end of the day that could have more to come. And the blinkers just makes him a changed horse. I thought he got stuck too far back in the listed race last time as well at Killarney when he was mixing it with pretty decent horses, to be fair. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Sacrificial at 7-1 then. And are you agreeing on Gabriel's Lad each way?
Me?
Yeah.
I said Empire Storm.
Oh, was Empire Storm? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
When me and Callum did this video 12 months ago, we were both all over Shatters and Levitate with Empire Storm each way, and luckily the one that we said each way came in third. And Bronze Angel, who wasn't meant to like soft ground, went and absolutely bolted up.
Yeah.
It still staggers me to that day, to the day that performance.
I think it staggers Marcus Tregoning more, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Also, in a case of irony, another track, Foss Lass. The going there tomorrow is good. When is it ever good ground at Foss Lass?
Well, maybe Glen Eagles could go hurdling tomorrow instead.
Yeah, he could. Yeah.
It's jumps good though, isn't it? Is it jumps?
Yeah, that's it. Glen Eagles can jump a fence, I reckon.
It's like watering to maintain, which is quite staggering.
Yeah, watering to maintain at Foss Lass. Words you never thought you'd hear said in racing, and yeah,
Ever.
wow,
Ever.
That would be a Mock the Week joke. That would be as well.
Right, just
at the peak of July, it is heavy. Yeah, but in October, we're good to firm actually. We're going to water it as well. That's the final race that we've got to cover at Ascot tomorrow for Champions Day. At this point, we will obviously have Tom Marquand and Jack Arity, one of them anyway, crowned champion apprentice. It probably will be Tom Marquand, who's up at Catterick, where he will be given the award. Possibly. We don't want to jump to any conclusions just yet, but there is still plenty of time to get your questions in, any fancies as well for Ascot or any racing tomorrow or any racing over the weekend as well. We've got the Canadian International and the EP Taylor coming up very shortly at Woodbine, so if you've got any fancies for those as well, do get them in. Just tweet us at On The Other Hoof and we'll read them out right about now, as our first question comes in from Tony Amato. He's been vacant actually from On The Other Hoof for quite a while, so welcome back, Tony. He says, hi guys, fancy Covert Love tomorrow and Forgotten Rules, but I'm worried that both need it softer than this. What's your opinion? So I don't agree with that on Covert Love.
No, there's no issue for the ground at all for me.
No, Forgotten Rules I get a little bit.
It was really fast at Longchamp 2 weeks ago. It's gonna be faster than, gonna be slower than what it was then.
If you're gonna have a concern about Covert Love, is that it's a fairly fast turnaround, and this race wasn't always the plan for her.
Yeah.
Forgotten Rules the concern for me. I don't think the ground will be fine for him, but it's a sense that he doesn't look the same horse this season. So two concerns that on those. Best of luck with that, Tony. And then Darren Goodbody replied to that, saying, my two I like is the Corsican in the Champion Stakes and Balti Boys each way in the finale, the Balmoral. Good luck with both of those, Darren. Stu Jimbo Williams says, hi lads, National Hunt 10 to follow starts a week today. How are yours coming along? I'm sitting on the sofa still. Haven't yet done it. How are yours coming along? Any chance of a mention on The Other Hoof? Well, now that you mention it, Adam, how do we say this? It was Rugeley, but now they've changed it.
Just 10 to follow. Yeah. I finished
on
mine.
Twitter. On Twitter, just go to at @nh10 to follow. 10 is the number, and you can enter it on there. Good bunch of lads running it. George Wayham and Stu Williams. Best of luck with that, guys. Thanks for running the competition as well. On to KJ the second. Makes him sound a lot more grand than he used. What was that?
He's kind of going, QJ.
I always do that.
Well, I usually do the KJ bit, but he's the second now, so I want to make him seem a lot more grand than he really is. A lot more grand than falling asleep in a pub at Longshore. He's KJ the second says, could Strathburn have won the Sprint Cup?
It does not sound like that.
If the race had developed closer to him.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I think he's got a decent each way chance as well tomorrow, PJ, if that's what you were contemplating. He then goes on to say, has Territories been the forgotten horse with Glen Eagles' participation on a knife edge? How strongly run will the QE2 be? We kind of touched on that a bit earlier on, didn't we? There's no real pace angle in the race, whereas Cody Bear could go forward, Callum?
He will go forward.
Territories the forgotten horse, though?
I haven't forgotten him.
No.
I will never forget him. No.
Yeah.
I did think he was overpriced, Territories. I will say that. He's Group 1 winner, so.
Yeah. Then KJ the second then goes on to say, what's the point of cutting the track in half for the Balmoral and Sprint? Well, Adam has already answered that for us.
Well, they put fresh ground there, but in a way, when I found out there was a field limit of 20, I wondered what on earth they were doing, and now I know what they're doing. Although it does feel odd, I will say this. On your, I'm going to say premier race day of the year, take out Royal Ascot, but you're only using half a strip of ground. It does feel a bit strange. I understand the reasons why, but it does feel a bit odd. It's not like Newmarket. On their really big days, they have the whole of the race course. They use every strip of it, whereas on smaller days, they cut it in. You know what I mean?
Start of the season they didn't. They were having a little cutaway.
Oh, that's it. That pointless cutaway that nobody used. Yeah.
Hey, that was used all the time.
Right. In the Guineas, the races they were meant to be used in the 2 Guineas, it wasn't used. So, Glen Eagles was
Academy House used it well. Tom Quealy used it well. Academy House.
Don't remind me.
Kai
of
Wills.
That was a horrible ride.
Good evening to you, sir. Best of luck in the rugby tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but best of luck with that. Evening, boys. Jack Hobbs, would you be worried about the draw? Callum has already answered that for us. No.
I did as well. No. Don't listen to John Gosden. He did it with Golden Horn. He'll do it with Jack Hobbs. He thinks this is conspiracy against him. No, it's not. It's the luck of the draw, and he still wins.
It's as much of a conspiracy as it is against Sloane Avenue out in Maidan. Wait, that one might actually be true. Guy Wilson goes on to say, Mahara, so impressive here last time, should win. Are we confident? I think we all were, to be honest, that Mahara at 9-4 is a belting price. And he goes on to say, Solo to beat Glen Eagles. We've gone Territories to beat Solo and Glen Eagles, and Cody Bear to beat Solo and Glen Eagles, and the other one, Cody Bear to beat Solo and Glen Eagles. So, yeah. Make of that what you want, Kai. We've got for bigger prices in the QE2. And then, I'm enjoying this with Kai. He's sending in a completely unrelated question as his last question to us. He says, what sauce is your favourite? Mine is obviously HP brown sauce.
Good choice. Really good choice.
Very good choice.
Especially with full English. Either HP sauce or if I'm having the chippy curry sauce. Both of them are lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Tomato sauce is vile. Ugh, horrible stuff.
Both myself and Callum have a bit of a soft spot for mayonnaise.
Huge soft spot.
Although I have to say, new favourite after refinding it in an Asda not too long ago.
Our whole fridge is just full of hot sauce.
Genuinely, next time you're in a supermarket, if you can find Frank's Red Hot Sauce, get it. It would change your life. It is.
It's on everything.
I'm not going to say what their slogan is because it's rude. KJ the second has come back in and said, not about racing tomorrow, but what's the sense/angle in sending Ivorwood to stud at Coolmore?
I don't get it. It's bizarre. He's a 2-year-old. He was free from free, and then he got beat in the middle park, and he hasn't won this year. I don't think he trained on. He's a 2-year-old, basically. and that's not what you want going to stud these days. It's what a horrible choice. Really horrible choice. I mean,
surprised Coolmore have got him. Like, I'm
yeah.
not surprised he's gone to stud. I'm just really.
What's the big
Coolmore
thing
have
in
got
him? The only thing I can think of is his size, because he was a big 2-year-old. But he did. The writing was on the wall for me when Lydia Hislop interviewed Richard Hughes at the Craven meeting, and she said, as he progressed through the winter, and he went, well, he's not really grown very much, and that was it for me. I just knew that he wouldn't have trained on particularly. I know he was third in the Guineas, third place in 2 Guineas, but just no for me. I don't see him being fashionable either. Coolmore will make him fashionable. In fact, the quote was, he won the July Stakes and the Richmond Stakes quicker than Shalar, which therefore means he's a fast horse. I'm thinking, oh, Jesus Christ. Speed, and speed.
Yeah. Next tweet in from an interesting one from Tony Deacon. He tweeted me a while ago in distress that the Tin Man bolted up at Ascot in that handicap and was taken out of the sprint on Champions Day. He's had a 5 each way at 200 to 1.
Jesus! I hope he finishes in the frame for you at least. Oh,
you wouldn't.
Good bet.
You wouldn't mind holding that ticket, would you?
No, I wouldn't. Wow.
He's what,
really
8 to 1 now?
Wow.
8 to 1, I think, about the Tin Man. So best of luck with that, Tony.
Yeah.
I think you're going to do well to beat Mahara, but at 200 to 1, I can't say I've ever had a 200 to 1 place.
I've earned a 100 to 1 winner before.
Yeah, I've had 1.
Yeah, Aurora's Encore. I know he went off 66s, but I backed him at 100s in the morning after timer, but I know. I tweeted it actually 2 years ago. Go look through my timeline. I mentioned him anyway.
No one's going to look for that.
I know, but...
Matt123 has said Litigant should go close, indeed closer than close.
Yeah, well, I think he'll be second to Agent Murphy.
I say Agent Murphy be closer than close in that regard. Kev the Punter. Now,
right.
Stop what we're doing. Hats off to Kev the Punter, who last week on this show gave us Grametti, the winner of the Cesarovich, at 50 to 1. Hats off to you, Kev.
And we all raised our noses at it and went, no.
Seriously, the
I didn't.
I still wouldn't back it.
Great shout, that.
Oh, brilliant.
Fantastic work, Kev. I hope you've enjoyed your winnings suitably anyway. This week he's gone for another big one, looking to follow up on Grametti last week with Fort Bastion in the Balmoral each way at 25 to 1. I'm saying nothing.
I looked at that. He was my third choice.
Ooh. I'm not going to say anything negative because
he shaped all right at Ayr last time in a race where the winner made all. And he's a horse I've always quite liked, to be honest, and I'm quite surprised that Mara hasn't really cashed in on him yet.
I think Fort Bastion's just one of them horses I just find him quite tricky, but I'm not going to say anything negative after what happened last week. You'll probably go and win again. No,
yeah.
Oh, my
best of luck. Best of luck with Fort Bastion in the Balmoral. Kev, and he also goes on to say more of a more straightforward task anyway. The Jack Hobbs and Muhara double will be a huge play for many tomorrow, right? Not for me, though.
Fair enough.
Interesting. It's the kind of thing that one of them won't win.
I get that.
They look so straightforward that one of them or both things won't go to plan.
I think a lot of people
but it will be a big double.
With Solo, aren't they? That treble with Solo is going to be a popular bet tomorrow.
It's got the makings of a Mullins first Platinum as well. Phil likes a flutter. Also known as Phil Dimsdale. You've changed your name there, haven't you? Does Glen Eagles run tomorrow? Yes or no? Quick survey myself. No.
No.
I'll survey.
Matt123 comes back in and says Muhara and Master J Hobbs. That's a nice way of putting it. Double nap. Hey, I'd say if he does, we can promote him to Mr. J Hobbs.
Yeah.
I'm with that. With that for sure. Andrew Humphrey. Now this is probably going to be one aimed more towards Callum. He says, if anyone at Champions Day tomorrow could get Solo's Qipco board for me, I'd love them forever.
The only way you'll get it is if he doesn't win. Callum will need to be stood round a spot. I don't know where it'll be, but he'll have to linger.
If I can carry both his and Cody bears.
Didn't you carry like 4 away from?
Hey, yeah.
No, I let Adam do that.
Yeah, you let me carry them to the car, I'm going to put them in the car, and I left them there. Yeah. Oh dear, that was fun. That was. It's a good story, that, because we went up and asked. Callum was like, how much of these? He went, oh, they're free, mate. You take as many as you want. So I went, all right then, I'll have this one, and the one I wanted, I ended up giving away. And Sharat will be thrilled, and I'm left with due bloody diligence. If any Ballydole or Coolmore fanboys are watching and would like it, feel free.
Yeah. Moving on. Phil Dinsdale saying, he says, all of you stop waffling. Jack Hobbs wins. Okay. Apologies.
Really?
Apologies,
No.
Phil.
We said he
Apologies. Bit touchy. Jeez. Someone's time of the month, isn't it?
We can't just talk about one horse in a race. We've been criticised in the past when we've talked about just 2 horses, and people are like, oh, we didn't mention this one. Well, we go on too long anyway, but you know what I mean.
Well, at least we can get revenge on Phil Dinsdale, because the next tweet he sent in we can shoot down fairly easily. He says, why is Gordon Elliott ran Don Cossack so early in the season? Did it last year.
Gets a prep run.
Did it last year. Won the same race last year. Went on to win the Melling and the Punchestown Gold Cup. So
yeah, nothing wrong with. But then again, he's at effectively a school round. It was the best I've seen him jump, and I hold out hope they're going to go for the Betfair Million, the Jockey Club Racecourse Million. I still think it's the Betfair Million because of Corto Star. I'd like to see him go for that. Betfair Chase, I think, would be perfect for him. King George, likewise. Gold Cup, I have question marks, but yeah.
How dare they run their horse before Cheltenham?
It's refreshing to see. It's great when you see horses out actually trying. Yeah. Oh. Next.
One final time back from Tony Deacon saying, thank you, gents. I'll be there tomorrow, minus fingernails, drinks on me if it cops. Now, only Callum's there tomorrow, so Callum.
Go find Tony.
Tony will be there offering drinks at the bar.
You'll hear him. You'll hear him before you see him, probably, if the Tin Man wins.
I assume he'll be buying everyone drinks. JP McManus style at Toaster, I say, for Mr. Deacon. Best of luck with the Tin Man tomorrow, in all honesty. We don't get many chances of getting a 200-to-1 winner, so best of luck with that. We don't get many chances of getting a winner on this show, to be honest. But right, naps time, guys. I'm going to go first because I don't want Adam to steal mine.
Go on, then.
I'm going to go for Agent Murphy instead.
Right, I have to go for something else then.
I knew you were going to go for it. So.
If we want to make it to something like a treble, I'll go with Jack Hobbs. Because then it leaves it open for Callum to go with...
Bear.
Oh!
He was always going to go for Cody Bear.
I thought he was going to go for Muhara.
No!
Oh. Fine, I'll nap the muggy double then of Muhara and Jack Hobbs then. There we go.
Okay, Agent Murphy for myself. Muggy double for the Mug Adam Webb on Muhara and Jack Hobbs. And Callum has gone for Cody Bear. Enjoy tomorrow, Callum.
Yeah.
Yes.
It should be.
I'm working. It's such a burden.
Life is hard, I'll tell you that.
You can see Callum running across the paddock when Tony Deacon stood on the top cheering the Tin Man in after the sprint.
No,
conveniently carrying Solo's Qipco board under his arm.
He's scumbag, 200 to 1.
Right, that's it for this week's show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next week, I think we've got Cheltenham back next week, haven't we?
We have. Are we doing our jumps preview next week?
Oh yeah, some point next week we're doing our jumps preview.
We need to organise a date for that. So.
Yeah, it may or may not likely be the Monday. We'll see on that regard. But we will be arranged, if you go up to our Twitter page, add on the other hoof, then you will be able to see what day we'll be doing our jumps preview. And do get involved in that as well. A long season up ahead, and hopefully we won't annoy Callum Liddell too much by putting up horses for Cheltenham.
I've got horses away from Cheltenham though. That's the thing though. When I did my jumps preview, I thought of the whole season. I didn't just think of one place. Which I actually had positive reviews on. Some people were like, it's refreshing that you've not just talked about Cheltenham. So thank you for those comments. And at
the end of the season, the results will still be the same. Equally crap. Thank you for joining us though this week on Audio. Do subscribe to us by clicking subscribe down below. That way you'll be told all about every video that we do, and it will appear on your YouTube page very conveniently for you if you can't watch live, of course. Next week we will be previewing Cheltenham among other things. But until then, have a fantastic Champions Day tomorrow. Best of luck to you, whatever you back. Join us next week at On the Other Hoof.